Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of No More Excuses. I'm your host, Sandy Ballard, the badass business coach. And today, you better watch out because I'm coming in hot. Yes, I keep hearing the same thing from leaders, business owners, executives. And what am I hearing? My team's the problem. They just don't get it. They're too sensitive or offended easily. They don't move fast enough and they just don't take initiative. And here's what I'm going to tell you. You don't have a people problem. You have a communication problem. You have a self-awareness problem. Yes, I said it. Not necessarily just you and your self-awareness, everyone and their self-awareness. All right. If most of you know, or if you don't know, I'm DISC certified. So I do a lot of communication training, and I have done a lot lately for this exact reason. So let's get real. Most business problems are not strategy problems. They are, like I said, communication problems. And most communication problems exist because leaders don't understand how they show up, especially under pressure. You can have the best strategy in the world, the best vision, the best systems, the best, mission statement in the world. And if your delivery shuts people down, if your stress style triggers the team, or if your tone changes when you're overwhelmed, none of this strategy matters. And this is where DISC, the DISC assessment, becomes more powerful, not as a cute personality test, but as a mirror. DISC is a mirror, not a label. And that's what I've been trying to teach people for years now. They call it the DISC assessment. They call it a personality profile. I call it a communication tool. And here's what I love about DISC. It gives language to behavior, not identity, not character, not this is who you are forever, behavior. And behavior can shift. But most leaders don't want to look in the mirror because when they do, well, they see that their urgency feels like aggression, their optimism feels like chaos, their patience feels like avoidance, and their attention to detail feels like micromanaging. And that's uncomfortable, but growth is uncomfortable. And around here, we don't make excuses for avoiding growth, right? No More Excuses podcast. So, under pressure is where the truth lives. Here's the part most people ignore. You don't lead from your best self when things are easy. You lead from your wiring when things get hard. You go back into that bad habit or that quick response. When revenue dips, when deadlines stack up, and when someone drops the ball, that's when your default style comes out. If you're high D, you get more forceful. If you're high I, you overtalk and sell harder. High S, you withdraw or accommodate. High C, you clamp down and control the details. None of those are bad, but unmanaged, they cause friction. And friction turns into drama, turnover, resentment, burnout. And leaders are saying, why can't I find good people? You can, but they can't thrive under unexamined leadership, right? So we promote for performance, not for communication. And here's another truth bomb. We promote people because they're doing good at work, not because they're leading good humans. Then we act surprised when communication breaks down. Leadership is not about being right, it's about being aware. Aware of your tone, your pacing, your expectations, your blind spots, and impact you have on the room. Yes, how you show up in the room. I just read an article on LinkedIn, that most leaders think they have to own the room when they have to be in the room, right? Impact is or attention, right? Impact or attention. It's always that way. You may not intend to bulldoze people. You may not intend to ask why. But if three employees say they feel steamrolled or they're going crazy because someone's always asking why, that's data, not drama. So stop weaponizing personality, especially with generations. Okay. I've I'm speaking in March about this later this month about this because It's about this generation gap, and I've been guilty of it. Oh, I'm Gen X, but Gen Z, Gen Y, millennial, whatever. But guess what? My daughter is in that category, and she's pretty badass. I mean, she is my daughter, right? She doesn't fit the mold of the typical, millennial, right? She is leaning into her personality because she knows who she is. Why? Because she took the assessment and mama trained her. So let me be clear about something. DISC is not an excuse generator. It's not that, oh, well, I'm just a D, so I'm going to be direct and blunt. I'm an I, so I'm going to be scattered. I'm an S, so I'm going to avoid conflict and hide and not say anything. I'm a C, so I'm going to nitpick and ask why until everybody's batshit crazy. No, that's laziness. DISC explains tendencies, okay? It's not just to justify dysfunction. If anything, once you know your tendencies, your responsibility increases because now you can say you didn't know. And around here, we don't hide behind assessments. We use them to level up. So here's the big idea I want you to take from this episode. You don't have a people problem. You have a self-awareness opportunity. When leaders understand how they can communicate under pressure, conversations get easier, trust gets stronger, feedback gets easier. The team is going to stop personalizing behavior. Oh, that's just so and so, or that's just so and so. It's just how they are. Yes. However, they can also learn who they are and how to communicate with the other people in the room, just as easy as you can learn how to communicate with them. And guess what? Results are going to accelerate. People are going to communicate more effectively, which in turn helps with mistakes and productivity. And because now we're operating from clarity, not assumptions. So, what this looks like in real life, well, a practical example is a high D leader is frustrated with how their team moves too slow. After working through DISC, they realize that they give high level instructions and expect immediate execution, immediate results. But half their team needs context, clarity, information, details. And they need to understand that they're important to the party. They're important to the project, before they act. So instead of saying, why isn't this done yet? Start saying, here's the outcome. What questions do you have? And what do you need answered before you can move forward? It's going to be a game changer, not just because the strategy changed, because communication changed. And that shift alone can change culture. So if you're the leader and you're listening to this and you lead a team, well, if you're a leader, hopefully you have a team. You could be a sole proprietor and still be the owner, the leader, and you need to work with vendors or subcontractors, volunteers, whatever. Instead of asking them what's wrong with them, ask how might you be contributing to this, right? It's not weakness, that's power because you can't control everyone else but you can control you, and self-aware leaders are unstoppable. So no more excuses moment. So here's your no more excuses assignment this week. You've got to identify your DISC style. How? Well, you can contact me, Sandi, with an I, at sandiballard.com, or message me wherever you're seeing this for a link for a free assessment. Right? Write down how you behave under stress. One person, ask one trusted person, when I'm under pressure, what happens to my communication? How do they feel? And then don't defend it. Just listen, just take it in, accept it, and realize you can modify your communication. That's leadership. So, in closing, if you want higher performance, less drama, and a team that actually trusts you, look in the mirror. Start right there. Because when you change how you show up, everything around you shifts. And that's what being a badass leader actually is. Not loud, not controlling, not intimidating, intentional, self aware, accountable, and no more excuses. All right. Like I said, contact me, Sandi at sandiballard.com. Let's help you become the badass leader you're meant to be. Cheers.